Welcome again to this week's prophetic speed painting picture. This was an impression that was received for the week of September 7th, 2008. It seemed to us the Lord wanted us all to know that we're meant to be going back to our future. What's it all about? What's the bottom line about life? Is the point of it survival despite everything? Or being a top person to everybody, the top executive, the hero, the star? Is it passing on your genes to the next generation? Or ending up happy? That could explain drugs and everything else. God says the aim of living this life, believe it or not, is Eden. The original blueprint for life on the planet was for mankind to live here exactly as things should be for humans, in an ideal world made for them and their kids. The days were to be spent in discovery, power accomplishments, fun, and real daily dialogue with the master of the universe, a living being who has a father's heart. Life had no plan for disease, genetic malfunction, eat or be eaten animal systems, or the need for hard work to eke out a living. Seeing how far you could go wasn't to entail danger of death. Adrenaline heights were to be had in other ways. Every person was to care about every other person, as per family. Enjoyed family. Love was everything. That blueprint was never canceled, only defaulted against. The whole of history is the account of living otherwise. Jesus is called both rescuer from fallen nature and second Adam for this reason, and Lord because he's the only one who can get us back to how things should be, literally back to our future while we're still alive. No matter how hard humanity tries, we can never recreate such a world. We could never rule over all its doings to keep it ticking over or get ourselves fit to inhabit it. The imperfect can never bring forth the perfect. The idea sub-supernatural man could make himself that good via trying hard is nonsensical. And it would be wrong because we so selfishly want it for ourselves. But the yearning for such a perfect world is readily on tap in the human heart all the same. But why should that be so? Do people normally yearn after something they know nothing about, or which is alien to their life? Or universally yearn to have something in their lifetime no one can ever have? The Bible says God has put eternity into the heart of every person. What we all crave to know in our lifetimes is the perfect eternal relating of Eden, the way it was always meant to be for us all. We judge ourselves against it all the time, feeling we ought to be better people than we are, to have lived better, to have loved better, to have led more perfect lives than we have. The greatest news that ever could be is that the reality of it is something he visits on us from there to any of us here. We may not ever be able to upscale ourselves that high, but as the second Adam and master of the whole thing, he can put Edenic life in our hearts for us here on earth, and he does so in a supernatural spiritual move. Like plutonium, it does its own work of mutation. Once we've received it, should we go on to resist it or betray it, which Christians can do, anyone who has received it can do, it relentlessly keeps on working to draw us back to living like the blueprint. It blesses his heart to give it freely like this, as one who was the very author of the original plan in the first place. He does it by coming down into the heart to inhabit it himself, and then runs the outworking from there. No other system or belief promises any such thing. A God who comes down, instead of a demand for us to try and come up and be worthy of the life of heaven. If you haven't experienced the infilling of his own spirit yet, the Edenic one he himself is living by, you have only to ask him to come live in your heart. It is having such a download of perfect love that makes the whole turnaround happen. The life of Eden was our destiny before, and it remains our destiny now. So there it is. Life here for any person is the opportunity for getting rescued back into Eden. This seemed to be a word he meant to have shown for this week.